I'm Jenna.
And I'm Heather.
And this is Conspiracies Unlocked. And we are going to be talking about the Flying Dutchman today. And my kids are so excited because the Flying Dutchman is a reoccurring, I don't know if it's like a character or what, but in SpongeBob SquarePants. They're like, the Flying Dutchman, ha ha ha!
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like a recurring thing in SpongeBob, so the kids are like super excited. That's what gave me the idea to do it.
Okay.
Because the kids have been running around saying, the Flying Dutchman, all spooky season. So I was like, oh, that would be fun to do.
I'm trying to think of, I have heard of it before. I don't think I've heard of it before.
Well, it's also part of the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
They kind of merged Davy Jones' Locker and the Flying Dutchman at, they merged those two legends together in Pirates of the Caribbean 3, Dead Man's Chest. Because you remember with Calypso, and they have to, go in, and the weird-looking guy, Davy Jones, and you have to get the heart, or the key to his heart, and stab the heart, and then all of a sudden, whoever played, what's his name, Orlando Bloom, ends up being the captain of the Flying Dutchman. It's a whole thing. We'll get into it. So, the Flying Dutchman is a ghost ship that is doomed to sail the seas for all of eternity. So right now, it's out there somewhere. And it's supposedly is never allowed to make port until, Judgment Day, pretty much, till the world ends and they get judged. The crew and the captain get judged. So as I said, it was seen in SpongeBob and the Pirates of the Caribbean, and these stories of the Flying Dutchman started in the late 1700s. The Flying Dutchman was captained by a Dutch man. His name was Hendrik van der Decken, and he wanted to pass through the Cape of Good Hope off the southern tip of Africa, and this particular area was super, treacherous and scary. And people just didn't, survive it. It's super dangerous. And he told his crew that he was going to pass the Cape even if it took him to doomsday, which it did. So he was very, adamant. We are going to do this shit where it goes down around Africa. So the southern part. And they were he had to do it. He was determined. He was hell-bent. According to legend, the captain made a deal with the devil. When shit got bad, he made a deal with the devil, which condemned not only the captain, but the crew as well. By many accounts, the ship will only appear during storms. So when it's really bad, it's almost like a bad omen to see the ship. That just means, shit's going bad, we're gonna die, oh my God. The legend goes as far back to 1683. And the captain, who was the Dutch captain, was working for the East India Company, which is interesting because in Pirates of the Caribbean, they often, Captain Jack Sparrow often refers back to the East India Trading Company. Mm-hmm. So it's all about the same time period. So he got stuck in, some sort of fiasco in the ocean, and that's when he pleaded with the devil, who told him to find a woman who would love him forever. But here's the stipulation. He could only walk on the earth every 7 years. So but he has to go on land to find said woman to break the curse.
So he's like a ghost?
Yeah. Except for the one day every 7 years that he'd go on land. Through the years, people have seen the glowing ship and say that the captain and crew will try to make contact with land, looking for their dead loved ones. And they're stuck in a state of forever, time still.
You know what's reminding me of?
What?
When we went on our tour of the USS Midway.
Yeah.
And there was a ghost that reported on the Midway that were going around looking for their loved ones.
Because they don't know that, time has passed so much to them. They might think it's only been a few days, I guess. They're just, stuck in this one time. And so when they do go on land, they're looking for their loved ones, not realizing that their loved ones have been gone for years and years and years, like for 400 years.
Yeah, it's like they're stuck. Their energy is trapped there. It's almost like it's like a time loop or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Or like 7 years feels like 7 days to them or something. They don't realize how long they've actually been.
Oh yeah, there probably isn't really like a time.
Yeah.
Like there's no concept of time. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, one of the most famous sightings was on July 11th, 1881, off the coast of Australia. This was at 4 a.m., and the young future King George V, which I'm trying to think if that is Bridgerton, or was it George the First was on the TV show Bridgerton?
I don't remember what number, but I feel like there's a lot of...
Well,
like
so, but
King
then I'm
George.
looking like 1881, that would have been Queen Elizabeth's father. What, right? Right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that is, so I don't think it's the same. But he was with his older brother, Prince Albert, and so that's like a really good source, credible source, I feel like, because there was two of them. They're future kings. They're princes. There's nothing for them to gain out of seeing the Flying Dutchman, but they did see the Flying Dutchman, so I think that they're definitely seeing something, and the Flying Dutchman is supposed to be like a floating ship that floats above the water.
Oh, it's floating above the surface of the water.
Yeah.
It's like a UAP.
Yeah, the crew is often seen as skeleton ghosts. So when you do see them on the Flying Dutchman, they're like skeletons. So they're not they're not regular ghosts. They're like their faces are skeletons. And some say it is a ghost ship, just like we've talked about before, like a ship roaming with no one on it, like the Mary Celeste. Remember how we talked about the Mary Celeste? Mm-hmm. And remember, there are hundreds of ships out there that are considered ghost ships because there's no crew on them. They're just floating around. They're out there right now, just floating. And it's not even that there's ghosts on the ship, but they call it that because the crew abandoned the ship for whatever reason. They're just like chilling mainly in the Atlantic Ocean, just randomly, ships just all over the place, I guess.
So there's no one manning it. It's just
going.
Sailing along.
Sailing along. It's like a deserted island or a deserted town or a deserted building, except it's a ship.
You would think that pirates would come and they would steal it.
I think they do, and they loot it and stuff, and then they leave it because what else would they need it for?
Maybe they don't want the ship itself. Wouldn't it be valuable to them?
Well,
somehow?
unless the ship is broken, and that's why the crew left. That's why the people left the ship, because it's broken and there's no reason to bring it back to port or anything. It's doing fine just out in the middle of nowhere. Like, the ocean is, like, fucking huge, Heather.
Mm-hmm. No, I know. I mean, there's more water on Earth than there is land, so definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so with the Flying Dutchman, it's like, it's a ghost ship, but it really is a ghost ship. Like, the ghosts are on it. Mm-hmm. Some say that the curse goes back to 1641 and that the ship actually did sink off the coast of South Africa whenever he made that deal with the devil, that they really did die. And then meanwhile, the curse...
Like they sold their souls almost.
Yeah.
And they're trapped.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, the whole, like, 7-year curse thing took place. So they were able, but they could break the curse, and their souls could be left free, like, you know, if he found someone who really loved him for him, and, you know, true love's kiss type thing, right?
Yeah, but that's going to be difficult
when you can only touch land once every 7 years.
Yeah.
Well, the Flying Dutchman was on his way to go touch land and go port or whatever when he came across, when the ship came across another ship that was like real people that were like going down and really like in trouble.
Wait a minute. Did he rescue a woman?
So he rescued the ship.
Oh.
No, because this is the 1600s. A woman would not be on the ship. That's a curse if a woman is on the ship, remember?
That's right, yeah.
So, instead, the man thanked him.
I thought it was like a meet cute.
Well, the man thanked him and offered up his daughter
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
But what's interesting is that the daughter was super into the Flying Dutchman, like, story, legends anyways, and she was, like, super obsessed.
So that's good for her.
So it was great.
That's good for her, because otherwise you're just forced to be with some man that you have no interest in, and you have no choice, and yeah.
Yeah, so because the Flying Dutchman, and she was actually set up to marry someone else, and that someone else was like, what the fuck? And she's like, gotta go. I finally, like, I get to go see the Flying Dutchman now. Like, I get to go see the captain. Like, gotta go. And,
It's actually manifest that.
yeah. And so the story goes that by the time that she got back to the ocean, or back to, like, where it would be, that he was no longer, like, on land. Because it had been more than a day, or, he had to leave again. And she was so devastated that she jumped off a cliff into the ocean and killed herself. Because
like
she
the
was
lady in white.
Because she was so in love with him.
That's like the story of the lady in white. Where she jumps off the cliff over and over again because of her lost love.
Yes. So supposedly the curse should have been broken, at least for the captain, but I'm not sure if that means that.
But her act of love, would that have been a sacrifice? Would that have, like, been enough for...
Because they never actually got to meet. So it could have been all for naught.
Oh, I see.
Nobody knows. And with the whole flying thing, some people say the cause could be just like, almost like a mirage, in the desert mirage.
Oh, yeah.
Like the way that the moon hits on the ocean.
Yeah, there's definitely mirages.
Having some sort of mirage type.
Especially if you're out at sea for months and months. Back then, I mean, you would be out for a long time. Mm-hmm. You would definitely start seeing shit out on the water.
Yeah.
Like, for sure, you would be seeing mirages.
Especially with whatever poison they drank back then for their alcohol. Mm-hmm. Like, have you seen The Good Dinosaur? When the little dinosaur and Spot, the little kid, his pet Spot, was like a cave person.
I remember watching The Good Dinosaur a long time ago, but I don't really remember it. I just remember thinking it was cute.
It was so sad. But anyways,
I don't remember the movie.
They eat like a bunch of like old rotten berries off a tree.
Oh no.
And they get fucking drunk, and they start like, or they get high, and they start like hallucinating, and it's like they're on shrooms or acid or ecstasy all together. Yeah.
Wow.
So
sounds like a good time.
So all this obviously had me like looking into Davy Jones' locker, because as I said before, Pirates of the Caribbean kind of merged the two. So now I'm down the rabbit hole of Davy Jones. And I found out that some people, mainly historians, linguistic people, believe that Davy Jones' locker came from the Bible. So you know what a linguistic person is, like who studies linguistics?
Yeah.
They take like these words that, like the last name Johnson, right? So Johnson would be John. Back then, you'd be like, oh, Billy John's son.
Yes.
Like John's,
yeah.
So now he's Billy Johnson, and then it just keeps going. Or, I can't fucking think, Farmer. Oh, Farmer John down the road, whatever.
Yeah, it's like an association of what
and as words continue.
The family.
Yeah, well, so this happens with all words, like, thou shalt not, I don't fucking know. I can't even think.
Origin and the association of the word.
Exactly, like the origin. So linguistic people study languages and see like how they, like a lot of our words came from Greek language or
Latin,
yeah. So, do you remember the story about Jonah and the whale?
Yes.
So Jonah, quick recap, there's a big ass whale, and Jonah was some dude in the Bible that got eaten by a big-ass whale, but didn't die or did die. I don't really remember the outcome of it.
It's like a Moby Dick story over here.
Yeah, it is. It kind of is, right? I always just think of Pinocchio, actually. Just think of all of it together.
It goes back to Disney.
Always. So, apparently, when you say Jonas whale like a bunch of times over like thousands of years, you get to Jones. Jonas, Jones,
Oh, it's
right?
like the Jonas Brothers.
So Jones. And then the saint that told the story about Jonas the whale was Saint David. Davy Jones Locker.
Yeah, I see.
And then the locker would be like the whale or whatever being trapped.
Yeah.
So
It's like a game of telephone.
yeah, that is how linguistics is, I guess. Like when you study
word
linguistics,
association and
yeah. And so then also with Davy Jones, there's lots of not characters, but like there's a lesser known pirate that was called David Jones in like the 1500s. There was like all these other where maybe Davy Jones came from, but the whole Bible is like the most plausible one. And so yeah, so then obviously to put the Flying Dutchman and Davy Jones together would just make sense because they're condemned to hell. And they're
yeah.
And then Davy Jones Locker, in case you didn't know that, because I didn't really explain that, Davy Jones Locker is where sailors are like, oh, he went to Davy Jones Locker. It's where you go and you're never found again. Like at the Titanic, like all those people went to Davy Jones Locker. Like it's the bottom, it's like the hell of the sea, the bottom of the sea. The sea takes you and never gives you back again. Yeah, that's Davy Jones Locker. Arg. In pirate talk.
We need a
Arg.
We need a
Arg.
cheers to this.
The Flying Dutchman.
The Flying Dutchman, Trump 2024.
Arg.
Thank you for following. Share, like, and subscribe.
Yeah, so that's my Flying Dutchman. It's a short episode. Really short. I told you it was going to be short. So, sorry it's short. I was hoping for, like, more information, but that's all there is on it. And I told the kids I was doing it, so I had to follow through and do it.
It was election night, so you were busy.
Yeah. So.
And I was busy.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and don't forget to
share, like, and subscribe. Keep subscribing because we love you all.
And email us at conspiraciesunlocked@gmail.com. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.